Hey, this is Wookie from Mandala Studios, welcome to the workshop. This is part 3 of making an Ayuwoki mask, finishing. So to start with, we're going to cast out the mask, so we're just going to pour the latex into the mould, swill it around, making sure we've got a good coating over the surface and no air bubbles in the ears and things, and then top up the mould with latex. We're going to prop that up in the corner, wedge it in place, leave it to dwell for an hour, then pour it out and leave it to dry. Then once it's dry, we pop in some talc, and then carefully peel out the moulded latex. And there you go, one finished latex mask. Pop it onto a polystyrene head to work on, and then we get to trimming it. So we just run around the neck with some sharp scissors, making sure all the cuts are smooth without any little snags on them. Open up the mouth, and then the eyes. Then once all that is cut out nicely, we're going to pop into the spray booth to get some base painting done. So we're going to mix up some portrait pink and some buff titanium with a bit of latex, give it a stir, and then after a few minutes, once it's all mixed together and the stick can just about fall over, we pop it into a spray gun and give the mask a thin coating all over of that flesh tone. Then once that's dry, in this case, we're going to spritz on some thinned inks. So to do that, we mix some ink with a few drops of different coloured inks into a little foil palette, and then put it onto a cut down brush and spritz it over. To start with, we used some blue, then we added some purple to the blue, dry it with a hairdryer to allow the ink to flash off, add some more purple, which starts to get some warm tones coming in. And we do the next one, and we started to use some oranges. This particular design is kind of pale towards the outside of the face, but has some redder tones on the inside of the face, so we're going to keep building that up as we go. I'm just making little palettes there of foil wrapped around an ink bottle, and just again letting those flash off. Then once that's all dry, we painted in the lips, and we're going to start airbrushing. And we're going to start with a kind of bluey purpley tone around the eyes to give it a sort of dead sunken hollow look, and then a kind of dark browny greeny tone to start adding some sickly shades into the shadows. And then even darker around the bits at the back of the head and around the details in the eyes and mouth. And then black right into the back of the mouth, and to give it some eyebrows and just touch around the eyelids and into the nostrils and things. And there we have the eyes done, the airbrushing done. Then we're going to make drying foam clays from Crayola, and we're going to just make some cone shapes out of that. We're just going to roll them up in between our fingers. Then once they're cured over the next day, we cut them down to shape and we position them all in place. Then we're going to glue them in. We're using a clear contact adhesive so that any overspill just looks like wet in the mouth. And once we've done the bottom, go in and glue in the top teeth. And onto the eyes. You'll see we did the eyes and the teeth simultaneously, but so the eyes we cut half a ping pong ball, or cut a ping pong ball in half rather, then took some pink yarn and frayed it all out to get individual fibres of different thicknesses, and we're going to lay those onto the outside corners of where the eyes are going to bulge to get bloodshot eye look. So we just unravel that yarn, then we're going to touch it with some super glue and some accelerant just to put it down in place. And you can see we're just getting those bloodshot eye looks going on the outside corners. Once they're all in place, we just made a little stand with some knives and a block of poly with some foam to hold it. Pushed it onto that so that we didn't have to use our hands to hold them as we're painting, because we're getting then trimmed off the excess yarn and coated the whole thing in gloss varnish. This makes the eyes look wet and seals the yarn down to the surface. I brilliantly did this all slightly to the top of the camera, but never mind. You can at least kind of see one on the stand there. There you go, and you can see all those fibrous bloodshot eye looks going on. Then we burn a hole in the very centre of the pupil so that the wearer can see through. We just did that with a soldering iron, pushing down in the centre, just gently teasing it to keep it round. And we just painted round the outside of that with some dark brown mixed with some black. You wanted it very dark but not completely black, because the picture didn't look like it was completely black. Then we position those in, making sure we can align the pupils so it looks in the right direction. Then mark it with pencil and then just trim so all the excess is cut down to the minimum. Then again, using the clear contact adhesive, we push that in place after we've put a bit on each side. Careful to line up the pencil marks, and that puts that in place. Then we do that for the other one, same again. Put it in, mark it once it's looking in the right place. Trim the excess, because obviously you don't need lots of plastic floating around by your eye. And a bit of glue onto the ball, and then smeared on the inside of the eye socket to allow that to give it something to glue to. And a bit more glue. Leave that dry for a little bit. Then once it's all cured, put it in place, lining up the pencil lines again. Now we made some felt pads for around the inside of the eyes, because you've got that edge of ball. Even though it was trimmed down, we wanted it to make sure it couldn't annoy the wearer, so we just made some little sockets, covered them in glue, let the glue dry, and then glued them in place around the eye on the inside. Just pushed them in, tucked them in around the eye so that the inside is completely fine to wear close to your eyes if anything happens. Pop that back on the head. Then at this point we looked at the eyes, and the pink we'd used for the yarn looked really good when it was out of the mask, didn't look very good when it was in the mask, so we went over it with some dark red ink and added some extra lines with a very thin brush just to run extra bloodshotting from places that weren't quite the corner. And we also just very gently ran a line of ink around the eye. And there we go, that's the mask finished. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you liked it. See you again next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe.